In this EOG review lesson, we are still looking at story elements, but we are focusing on the plot. So I can't state this. I can identify the plot of a story as a series of events that move the story along from the exposition to the resolution. So all the events in the story make up the plot. It is a series of events that happen in a certain order. Each group of events has a name. And if you'll remember these from earlier in the year, we talked about the exposition, rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution, also known as the conclusion. So here is an example of a plot map that we talked about before. And we always begin at the bottom of the mountain, sort of like a roller coaster when you get on the roller coaster. The exposition is the beginning of our story, where we're introduced to our characters and the setting of the story, the where and the when. Right. Then, as the story progresses, we go into the rising action. This is where our main character faces a series of conflicts, problems, things that happen in the story. When we get to the climax, this is the most exciting part of the story, where we learn the outcome or how they solve the problem. After the climax, it's like you're going down the hill of the roller coaster. These are the falling action. It's usually one or two quick events that are leading to the end of the story. And then we get down to the bottom, which is the resolution. This is the end of the story. How does our story end? So we're going to watch a quick video as a reminder of the story elements.
There are 5 basic elements that make up a story. Plot is one of those 5 basic elements. The plot is a term for the main events in the story. The main events happen in a certain order, and so the plot is sometimes also referred to as the storyline. Looking at it more closely, the plot can be further broken down into 5 parts. It's helpful to imagine those 5 parts as a roller coaster ride. The first part of the plot is called the exposition. The exposition is simply the beginning of the story. Here, the author introduces the characters and establishes the setting. The next part is the rising action. This is where the conflict of the story is revealed. During the rising action, the main character encounters some sort of problem that creates tension, such as when the wolf blows down the little pig's house. The climax is the next part of the plot. It is the most exciting part of the story and the point where there is a change in the direction of the story and its course of events. In The 3 Little Pigs, this would be when the wolf gets frustrated and tries to enter the brick house through the chimney. The next part is the falling action. It occurs right after the climax. The tension from the conflict starts to decrease and the story events wind down or settle toward an end. The falling action in The 3 Little Pigs is when the wolf lands in the hot soup pot and gets burned. The last part of the plot is the resolution. Here, the problem of the story is solved and the story ends. In The 3 Little Pigs, this is when the wolf runs away and disappears into the forest.
Created using Powtoon.
On the next page, you will be working on a review activity where you will be reading or viewing a passage and completing a worksheet where you have to identify the events as either the exposition, the rising action, the climax, falling action, and the resolution.